Alright, so you guys see the thumbnail, you guys see the title. Should I leave Egypt because of the war that's happening in Israel? Right? Now, if you guys don't know who I am, Shalom, my name is No Limit Eddie. I have been living over in Africa, well, in Egypt for the last 2.5 years. Right? And so, because of what's been happening over in Israel, I've been getting a lot of emails, a lot of texts, a lot of comments from, friends, family members, you guys, my YouTube family, wondering what exactly is happening on the ground here in Egypt, and if I had any plans on leaving the country because of, essentially how close this conflict is to, where I reside, right? And so that's what I want to talk about here in today's video, because there's some people asking about it. I figured it's a topic that a lot of people actually want to know my thoughts and my opinions on. As someone who lives in Egypt, how exactly is it being affected by the war currently in Israel and Gaza and things like that. All right, if you guys hear any noise in the background, I'm just taking my dog for a walk, so he's panting in the background. All right. Now, with me being here on the ground, of course, I'm very mindful of the conflict being that it's so close. And from the way that I see it, it's actually it has the potential to escalate into a pretty big conflict, right? Because I know there's a lot of people say World War III could be a catalyst for that could be Taiwan and China, right? Now, that's true because semiconductors, all kind of stuff like that. But this one here also, to me, it may be even more of a catalyst, or it could be more of a catalyst for a World War III type of situation. And the reason why I say that is most people don't care about Taiwan. The average American walking down the street does not care about Taiwan. The average American walking down the street does not care about Ukraine. The average citizen in the world doesn't care about Ukraine, and they don't care about Taiwan, right? Now you have to explain to people, well, they have these semiconductors, and this is how you run the modern world. You have to explain to people all these things. What people do understand is base level ideologies of religion, right? And you see that there was no uproar anywhere in the world based off of what happened in Ukraine or what happened in Ukraine, right, in Russia. But there is protest all over the world about pro-Israel and pro-Palestine. There's protests, right? People are emotionally involved. People are emotionally brought up. You don't have to do very much and you have to sell war to the public. You have to sell a war. And you don't have to do much selling. It's just there's people who love Israel, there's people who hate Israel. There's people who love Palestine, there's people who hate Palestine, right? There's people who are already fired up on both sides. And this is a war that they can sell, that the military-industrial complex can sell to most of the world relatively easy, right? And so you have most of the Muslim world aligned with Palestine, countries where I am in Egypt. I'm not a Muslim, by the way, if you guys are wondering. I get that question a lot over on TikTok. I'm not a Muslim. We have countries like Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, UAE, right? Qatar, that of course are going to be aligned with Palestine. And you have Western powers that are going to be aligned with Israel, right? And you see now even Israel has released a statement basically saying if you're an Israeli, you need to leave these countries. They told you to leave Egypt, told them to leave Jordan, and they told them to leave Morocco. Told them to leave those 3 countries because there might be an increased risk of violence done to them. Even just the other day, there was an actual protest over in Cairo, in Tahrir Center, and there was a protest this other day in Cairo. There was also 2 Israelis shot and 1 Egyptian shot once this war initially started. But there's been a lot of conflict. There has been a lot of uproar. I'm seeing protests in the States. I'm seeing protests all over the place, pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, going back and forth. And so I am monitoring the situation relatively well, or relatively closely. Now, with that being said, that's my thoughts on the conflict. I think it could escalate pretty big if it's not put under wraps pretty quickly. There's been a lot of people who are leaving Egypt. There's a lot of people that I know that are planning on leaving Egypt here soon because of the conflict, because they believe, hey, maybe it might spill over to Egypt, things like that. I've had text messages like that asking, hey, where are you going to go, I've also had people already pick up and leave, right, the country of Egypt. So that's one effect. The other effect is that it is a little bit more tense. I can say that just as a whole, it feels a little bit more tense. People are a little bit more iffy about it. The whole country as a whole. There hasn't been any actual effects. There's no supply chain shortages as of yet. At least it hasn't trickled down yet. There's no increase in prices. There's nothing that's been happening on the ground that makes me feel it's getting dicey here. For the most part, it's more so just speculation based off of the looking of certain events, right? So that's what I would say so far. No real on the ground effects that cause me to be like, oh my goodness, this is sketchy. Now, do I plan on leaving the country of Egypt because of the conflict, right? I think that's something we can talk about here. And my answer right now is no, right? I have no plans on leaving the country of Egypt right now. Why am I in Egypt? I just happen to like it for quality of living. The quality of living is pretty nice from the people. Are really cool. The accessibility to things are really good. The infrastructure I wouldn't say is great. Like, the infrastructure I wouldn't say is great, but when I say infrastructure, in this case, I mean like water. Water is always on 24/7, every day, nonstop. You get water, running water, hot water, cold water, different things like that. The power does not go out, right? So it does go out, of course, more than in America, but it's 15 minutes, it's back on. Very rarely do you have outages where it lasts for hours. Sometimes when it's really hot and everybody's running AC, you may have more frequent outages, but overall, the power is sturdy. Okay, without a need for a generator or anything like that. So the infrastructure in that case is very, very good. Much better than like when I was in, say, let's say Tanzania. Infrastructure there was not very good. Power was always going out, water was going in and out. You had to fill up these canisters and a rug roof, and it was a lot of foolishness. And so here the infrastructure in that case is very good. Roads are paved in a lot of cases. There's dividers in the lane to keep people from going back and forth. So the infrastructure is decent here. And then the cost of living is also amazing cost of living. So that's kind of why I'm here in Egypt. I just felt that me, as someone who generates a full-time income online, I don't need to live in the United States, for me to partake in the benefits of being an American citizen. So I left America, and right now I'm in Egypt, okay? So that's why I'm here. There's no particular reason. I don't have any family ties or any cultural ties that cause me to be forced to live in Egypt. So at any point in time, I can get up and leave. And I have the money to do that as well. But for me, I like it here in Egypt, right? So I don't have any plans on leaving quickly. And I think as well, there's a lot of people who are like trying to get up and leave really fast and get up and leave fast and things like that. There's a quote by a man that people hate, some people love, right? Similar to Israel. Some people hate him, some people love him. But Andrew Tate, right? And he says, the quote is, "I allow manipulation to find out where my enemy wants me to go. Then I use my mind to break the trap and punish the perpetrators," right? And this quote is pretty much what I feel like the situation is right now. Fear is a tool, right? And fear is a tool that controls the masses. Look what happened during COVID, right? Fear, you're gonna die, take the vaccine, right? Fear is a tool used by central planners to make people move in a way that they want other people to move. And so when you can incite fear in people, you can get them to do pretty much anything for the name of safety. And so I don't just want you to then pick up and run quickly, because you may be running into a trap, right? Or you may be running exactly where they want you to run. And so my whole thought process is let's analyze the situation. Let's look at the dice board and let's see what will happen, right? I don't have very much fear of, just being in a war zone. I just don't think that's my destiny per se. I think people are trying to run and trying to, at the first sign of potential danger, people run, right? And I think it's because of usually fear, right? And I'm not a very fearful person. On top of that, I believe that your judgment is your judgment. And so I'm a spiritual person, right? I believe in the Bible. I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so his judgments are always going to be just. And so in my personal opinion, in my personal belief, you cannot escape your judgment. If you've done good, good's going to come to you. If you've done bad, bad's going to come to you. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a war zone or if you're in a land of peace. Good and bad is going to come to you if it's deserved, right? So what I mean by that is some people are so afraid of like something bad happening to them, but it's like, it doesn't matter where you are. If something bad is going to happen to you and it's supposed to happen to you, it's going to happen, right? I know a lot of people, when I was in Tanzania, they got robbed, right? Multiple times. Getting their phone snatched, getting their houses broken into, all these type of things like that. I was in Tanzania, you know what I mean, and, didn't get robbed, didn't get the extension. I've been, people who in Egypt got stuff robbed. People can get robbed anywhere, but that has never happened to me, not once in my life. I believe that I have a hedge of protection around me. I don't know if it was because of what I've done in my past life. I don't know if it's because of my ancestors. I don't know, right? But bad things do not happen to me. Only good things happen to me. And so I don't care what part of the world that I'm in. I believe in general, good things will happen to me, right? And so I don't believe I need to run, and flee as fast as I can. Let me analyze the chessboard first, and let me allow the manipulation, right? Let me allow the manipulation. What do they want me to do? Oh, this. Okay, cool. Now I see where they want me to go, so now I know where I'm not going to go, right? And so that's kind of my whole thought process around it. Hey, if things get to a point where I say, you know what, let's go ahead and leave this place, then I'll leave. I believe when you're living abroad, you should always have backup countries. Countries where like, okay, I can go here, I can go here, I can go here. understand the visa laws there, understand the language barrier there, understand who do you have that's connected in that country. Do you know anyone in this country? How quickly can you get to know people, right? Like understand these different elements, understand these different parts. No matter where you are, you should, whenever you're living overseas, you should have that plan A, plan B, plan C type of things. And I have a couple of those mapped out if I ever did decide that I want to leave Egypt. So yes, that's my opinion. That's my take. It's a dangerous situation what's happening over in Israel. It's prophecy that at some point that land has to be, dealt with. I don't pray for peace. That whatever's written in the Bible has to come to fruition. The sooner it comes to fruition, the sooner the world can be back in balance. With the Most High in the forefront as He should be. So yeah, violence is going to come to you. You can't escape your judgment. That's another big thing. If wickedness is going to come to you, wickedness is going to come to you. It doesn't matter where you are. If positivity is going to come to you, positivity is going to come to you. It doesn't matter where you are. The book of Proverbs speaks to this so many times. I've never seen the seed of the righteous begging for bread. In the day of wrath, the righteous will be protected. It speaks to this so many times. It doesn't matter where you are. Your judgment is your judgment. If the Most High has good intended for you, good is intended for you. If He has judgment intended for you that maybe you want to try to escape from, you can't escape from it, right? And so that's my opinion. That's my take. All right. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Yah willing. Shalom.